What's good, guys? We're back with another video, and today we'll be reacting to 3 scary true horror stories animated by Wansee Entertainment. And you guys know how it is with these videos. I took a real break, but that's besides the point. Let's just get right into it. Yeah, this time we're getting right into it. Let's go. The first story is called The Trailer. We already have the big boy headphones on, so let's just get right into it. Yeah. Alright.
When I was about 10 and my sister was 11 or 12, my mother told us this story. She said she was around 4 or 5 years old at the time. My grandmother, her mother, lived in a trailer back then. She'd arranged their beds right next to the window, which, as it turned out, was a mistake. It was a weekday. Grandma worked during the day, and when night fell, they both went to sleep. Then, sometime in the middle of the night, my mother woke up. She saw a man standing outside of her window, staring straight at her. Terrified, she ran to my grandmother's room and said, "There's a scary man outside the window." But Grandma didn't believe her. She told her to go back to bed. When Mom returned to her room, the man was gone. He wasn't standing there anymore. She remembered him clearly, though. Tall, with a bushy white beard and dirty brown hair. His clothes were filthy, light brown pants and a jacket, like someone who'd been living on the streets. Still scared, Mom crawled into Grandma's bed for the rest of the night. The next morning, Grandma got up early, getting ready for work, and to drop Mom off at the babysitter's. Everything seemed fine and normal. But when they came back home a few hours later, everything wasn't normal, and when they first got a look at the trailer, they froze. Mom's window was gone. Someone had ripped it right out of the trailer wall. Nothing else had been touched. No jewelry missing, no money taken, nothing stolen except the window. Grandma didn't wait around. They packed up and moved in with Grandma's grandparents soon after. The man was never seen again, and that's what's always haunted me.
Oh, nah. Well, too bad for him. They ain't coming back. So he got into the trailer like that? He think he's slick, right? He think he about to jump them when they come back. No, they're leaving that trailer. You already know how it is. And he's just going to be staying there for the rest of his life. They're never going to return. He got scammed, chat. He was going to get them, but he got scammed, chat. He went in there and they haven't came back since. Thank goodness they moved to with their babysitter or whatever. But yeah, that was a scary first story. Low key. That was a really short story, but that was still really scary. That was freaky. Anyways, next story is called Brother.
Hello, Wansee. I wanted to share with you what I've experienced. It happened a long time ago when I was about 10 years old. Back then, I was living in a small house where all the rooms were connected to each other. Since we didn't have enough space, my 2 brothers would sleep in one room, while I, my mom, and my little sister shared another. It was late one night, around 3 in the morning, and I was still awake watching cartoons on our old TV. Then, the door to my room slowly opened. Standing there was one of my brothers, but even with the light from the TV, I couldn't see his face. His entire body was just a black silhouette. As a kid, I didn't think much of it. I figured the light was maybe just playing tricks on my eyes. He sat down on the edge of the bed beside me without saying a word. His face turned toward the TV. I asked him softly if he couldn't sleep either, and if he wanted to change the channel. But he never responded. He just sat there, perfectly still, not moving a single muscle. That was strange, because my brother could never sit still. He was always fidgeting, always shifting around. But this version of him didn't even blink. After a while, I needed to use the bathroom. I slipped quietly out of bed so I wouldn't wake my mom or sister and hurried down the hall. When I came back, I passed my brother's room and froze. Both of my brothers were fast asleep. They were tangled together under their blanket, breathing heavily, not an inch of space between them. It was impossible that one of them had been in my room, just
You're either hallucinating or you gotta go. You gotta run away from the house. I don't care. Dude, honestly, if I saw if my brother came in and I was watching television. He didn't respond to any of my questions. I get up, go to the restroom, and when I pass his room, I see him sleeping when he was just in my room. No, cut it out. Cut it out, dude. We're leaving.
Moments ago, my heart dropped. My hands started shaking, but somehow
that's
I
scary.
forced myself to move. I ran back toward my room. The bed was empty. The silhouette was gone, and that's when it hit me. I never actually saw its face. I didn't even know if it had been looking at the TV or at me. Even now, I still think about that night. I'll never know who or what was sitting beside me, and honestly, I'm glad I'll never find out.
Oh, what the heck? Oh gosh, dang. You know, that's a little freaky. Like, hallucinations can be freaky, and like the fact that, like, I can't imagine that experience. Even as a hallucination, if it's just a hallucination, that's still freaky experience. And yeah, so I have to say for that one, that story was again another freaky story, which was, yeah, that was a weird story too, because it's different. We haven't really seen hallucination stories in this channel, so this one was weird. This one was a little bit more different than the other ones, and I like that. Anyways, moving on to the third story. Let's see what it's called. True Skull Horror Story.
Hey Wansee, I'm going to share a really scary experience I had at my school. My school looks totally normal. Bright hallways, the usual classrooms, nothing weird about it. But over the years, there have been a few strange stories that have gone around. There was one about a theft that happened a while back. Apparently, a man disguised himself, got inside the school, and ripped a pair of gold earrings right off a student's ears. I still don't know if that's true or just one of those rumors that gets passed down, but it definitely freaked people out. Anyway, here's what happened to me. It was a regular day, but I remember being really tired because we had a ton of work to do. Later that day, my friend Katie and I were walking down the hallway after coming back from class. The hallway was completely empty. No teachers, no students, just us. As we were walking, I suddenly got this strange feeling like someone was watching us. I looked around, but didn't see anyone. Then, I noticed a classroom nearby. The door was closed, and the lights were off. There's a small glass window on every classroom door, so I could see inside, and what I saw still scares me to this day. Inside, there was a girl. She was standing perfectly still, staring right at me. Her skin was pale, almost gray, and blood was running from her ears. For a second, I couldn't move. It felt like she was staring straight into my soul. Katie asked me what was wrong, but I didn't answer. I just grabbed her hand and ran. We bolted down the hallway until we reached our classroom. My face and hands were covered in cold sweat. Katie was confused and kept asking why I looked so terrified. When I told her what I'd seen, her eyes went wide. That's when she told me something that made my stomach drop. The day before, our teacher had asked her to turn off the lights before leaving class. I had already walked ahead, and she said that right as she flipped the switch, something caught her eye. She saw the same girl, pale, standing in the dark, with blood dripping from her ears. Katie said she panicked, ran out of the classroom, and didn't tell anyone because she thought no one would believe her. She had never shared her experience of what she saw until I had shared mine. To this day, I still wonder what would have happened if we hadn't run, if we stayed in that hallway just a little bit longer.
Okay, that last story was freaky, and it wasn't just one person that saw it. It was both of them, and then they shared the experience after one saw it. So you know that it's been a problem, and you know that it's real because you have two people that have seen it. You have two witnesses. That is freaky. Low-key, that is freaky. Again, it is a little more paranormal than the stories that we usually react to. But even then, like, if two people saw it, you have witnesses, and you can know that that is truth, I guess, more to say. Anyways, that last story was also another freaky story. If I had to rate the stories, how freaky they were, like how scary they were, I'd probably say, honestly, I'd probably say the first story was the scariest, low key, because like a man at your camper, any windows gone once you come back, like you imagine you sleep next to a window at night, and then all of a sudden you look up at the window and you see a guy. Like, heck no, bro, I'm out of there. I'm out of the camper. I'm not even telling my mom. I'm out. Next one. The next story is probably this one, because you had two witnesses, so you know that the hallucination, or it wasn't a hallucination, but it was more of a just sighting. You know that it's real because two people saw it, and the last one was just a hallucination, but it was still freaky. So yeah, that's what I give the stories of how scary they were. So go the first story, third story, and then second story last as the least scariest. Anyways, we're going to be reacting to another one, and we got 3 disturbing true horror stories animated. Alright,
hello, my name is Kian Redhead. I want to tell you a story about something my foster brother
Redhead? Did I hear that right? Whose name is that? Whoa.
Hello, my name is Kian Redhead. I want to tell you a story about something my foster brother Simon...
Some of y'all got the weirdest names. Chat.
...experienced a few years ago. I call him my brother because my sister and I were in foster care, and he was my sister's foster brother.
Okay.
This happened about 3 or 4 years ago, when Simon was around 8 or 9,
whole chart
and I was 11. Simon, though somewhat fun, could also be a bit annoying. The rest of us playing were my sister Kiana, who was 10, and our older foster brother Gage, who was also 10. It was a weekend night near spring or summer in York Landing, Manitoba, in Canada, a very small reserve where we all lived. It was late, about 10 p.m., and it was raining. We decided to play manhunt. We all picked Simon to be it, and he gave us 30 seconds to run and hide. Since we all lived on a reserve, we had practically a whole forest, or a very large backyard, to hide in. I went to the backyard, heading close to the sandy pit where they kept gravel for construction. The rain had made the sand muddy. I went toward the bushes to hide, and Kiana was with me. Simon's perspective. Simon started searching and went down the trail that leads to the sandy pit. He took a left and started walking up the neighbor's path to loop back toward the houses. Then, he thought he saw me and Kiana walking together. He smiled and began following the figures, even though Kiana and I were already hidden. Simon stopped and dropped to the ground when one of the figures looked back at him, then took a sharp right into a forestry trail. He thought he heard us calling his name, so he backed away and went toward the house. My perspective. After a while, we hadn't heard from Simon, and no one had screamed, so Kiana and I went back to the house. Everyone was there, except Simon. After about 2 minutes of waiting, we all started to call out for him. We headed toward the neighbor's yard and found him walking toward us, crying. We hugged him and asked him what happened. He told us everything. We went and told the adults, but they didn't believe us. Simon said that he heard us call his name, and that's when he ducked to the ground and hid. He said the figure looked back when it heard us calling. I don't live there anymore, but Simon and Gage still do. Sometimes Kiana and I talk about it, and it gives me chills thinking about it. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Simon had followed that figure into the trail. I think it could have been a skinwalker pretending to be me and Kiana to lure him away.
What? Oh, they even got the map! Oh my gosh, wait. So my house right here, Simon's house, okay? There, we're hiding right there. The thing, he comes out. Okay, I understand. Alright, okay, there's actual evidence here too. You got a map. And also the fact that the parents didn't believe them, like, that's the worst part about any horror story. If you got the parents not believing you, you're just done. You're cooked. You're like, it's just not even funny anymore. Yeah, no, I don't know. Maybe they were skinwalkers. Hey, maybe they were skinwalkers. Who knows? Yeah, you even got the map right here too. That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, number 2. Story number 2. Let's go.
This story happened during a camping trip in the fall of
creepy.
2019. At the time, I was attending college in Portland, and I decided to head south with my friend Jason
Got
for the
big
weekend.
nose.
I followed Jason's lead, and when we arrived at the campground, it was incredibly quiet, secluded, and there wasn't a lot of traffic. As I was pitching my tent, I noticed a sign attached to a tree. It said, "Private property, no trespassing," and underneath it, it was written, "Violators will be," and the rest of the text was erased. And below that, someone had spray painted the word "die" in red.
Jason, look at this. That's funny.
I told Jason, laughing. Jason's face hardened when he saw the sign. He told me that we might have to move camp somewhere else, but I told him we would be fine. So we made a
nose
fire
over here
and
thinking it's
joked
funny.
around until we fell asleep. Sometime later, I woke up in the middle of the night to a rustling sound outside the tent. I immediately knew it was someone walking, stepping on branches.
Hey, you
I
know you're
woke
cooked
Jason.
too.
He heard it too, and his
Your friend was
expression
right.
turned terrified. He whispered, "What should we do?" At that moment, the tent's zipper suddenly unzipped, and someone poked
Oh
their
my
head inside.
gosh!
It was a man. He slowly smiled, a creepy, unsettling smile. His
Ugh.
face was filthy, as if he hadn't washed in months. I could see his red eyes and rotted black teeth,
No,
but he
that's
didn't look like a
disgusting.
simple homeless person. His face radiated an inexplicable, murderous aura. Then he said to us, "Haven't you seen the sign?" He put his hand into the tent, holding what looked like a large piece of bone.
What the
It looked like the bone of a large animal, long, sharp, and jagged, as if it had been deliberately ground into a point.
Oh,
With
nah.
Jason's thunderous scream, I instinctively
Yeah.
shoved the man's face away. He stumbled backward, and I bolted out of the tent like a
Oh,
bullet.
come on, bro.
He was swinging the bone at me,
Oh.
and I kicked him hard
Yeah.
and yelled at Jason
going.
to start the car. Jason ran over, jumped in, and started it. I sprinted toward
Teamwork
him,
made the
dove
dream work.
into the passenger seat, and we tore out of there.
Yep.
We left our tent and belongings behind and just kept driving. A few
Smart.
days later, when
Good.
we returned, we were horrified. Our tent was covered in red spray paint with the word "die," and inside were 2 horribly mutilated animal carcasses. We couldn't even tell what kind of animals they were. We
Oh
ran
my
like
gosh.
crazy and never went back. Who on earth was that man? The terror of that night still haunts me.
Jeez. Yo, when that man first appeared, oh my gosh, I about lost that, bro. No, I'm being serious. That was actually, it was like the girl from the last story that we reacted to. Oh my gosh, dude. Hey. Yeah, that was a freaky story. That was something else. Like that reminded me of the girl story that the girl with the black hair story that we reacted to, the other video that we did. Anyways, but yeah, dude, it was not smart of you to stay after you saw that sign. Like I think that sign was the biggest red flag of the entire thing. Like, you could have completely avoided this by just moving somewhere else, like your friend said. But Big Nose over here thought it was a good idea to stay. But anyways, no, that was like up there. That was probably second most scariest Wansee Entertainment horror stories we reacted to so far. The girl in the black hair and that one. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to story 3. Oh, man.
Maybe my story isn't really scary, but it was traumatic for a 9-year-old at the time. It was during the 2020 lockdown. We went on vacation since it was summer. My parents, me, my 2 older cousins, my aunt, her husband, and her 2 kids all went together. There were many of us. We stayed at a big resort. The resort looked like a 2 to 3 story high gray house. We got one big room that was enough for all of us. It had 2 or 3 bunk beds and one big bed for 2 or 3 people. And the first day was fine. The second night, someone began knocking on the door. My dad and my aunt's husband woke up first, then the rest of us started waking up one by one. We had already
Knocking.
locked our door before going to sleep, so at
Doug
first
mad.
we didn't worry. But my aunt's husband
I'd be
bent
mad too.
down and looked under the door. There was a little space under it, so he checked. The knocking continued, but there was no shadow, no legs, nothing. We were scared, but it was late and I fell asleep quickly. The next night, the knocking came again. When I woke up, my mom, dad, aunt, and her
He looks
husband were
mad,
already awake
dude.
because of the noise. The knocking stopped for a second, and then something tried the doorknob, like it was trying to get inside. It was locked.
Open the door,
and
pull him
whatever
in,
was
and
out there
boom.
seemed to get angry.
Come on.
We were terrified, and then it stopped.
That may sound like a dumb idea too.
A few
I
minutes
think it
later,
is.
we heard stomping, loud stomping, like something big was walking right outside. Oh, and I almost forgot. My dad checked under the door again. Still no shadow, still no legs. After the noises faded, my dad stepped outside to check. My aunt's husband
Dude, he
stayed
looks
inside
mad.
watching the space under the door to see if he would see my dad's legs or shadow from the hallway. His face changed instantly. He looked terrified because he saw my dad's legs and shadow clearly. Then my dad came back inside and we were all still scared. The next day, we packed up and left. My mom and aunt asked a worker if maybe there had been a drunk guest wandering around. But he told them, "Oh, the other customers were all gone. Their dates expired. The only customers here were you." We were shocked.
What the freak?
Since then, I've wondered, did someone try to break into that room and hide their legs so they couldn't be seen? Or was it something else that knocked on that door?
Yo, honestly, I think it was the guy at the front desk. Hear me out. Did you see this guy? Did you see this guy? Let's go back. This guy looks like he would murder someone. Especially his voice. He looks too friendly. He was either that or something, or ghost or something. I don't know. Look, I don't know. I think it was him though. I think it was him. I'm just saying, I think it was him. Because he looks too friendly. He was acting too friendly. Why was he saying it like that as well? Why was he saying it like you're the only guest here? And why was he saying it like that? Heck no, don't. Again, hey, I've told you guys this before. You can't trust anybody. Right there, man. He was definitely, he was most likely the one knocking at their door, trying to lure them out. Honestly, he said no other guests were there. He was definitely trying to do that. I know it. But anyways, let's rank. Let's see. You know what? Honestly, the first one and the third one are tied. I don't really know which one should be scarier. But the third one's definitely, or the second story was definitely the scariest for me. This one, the one we just reacted to, it's alright. I mean, also, it's kind of like with the same level as the first story we reacted to on this second video. I don't know how to rank it, but we know for sure that the second story on this video was the scariest ever. The second scariest ever, actually. Because, bro, like, that was scary, dude. I don't even know how they explain it. Like, it was the guy in the tent. Yeah, no, I'm out. But anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment what you want to see next on this channel. Happy Thanksgiving to all y'all, and peace.